Amazon has moved a two-judge bench of the Delhi High Court against Future Retail-Reliance Group's deal. The Delhi High Court will hear Amazon's appeal against a single-judge bench order which had allowed this deal to proceed on the 13th of January. On the 21st of December last year, a single-judge bench of the Delhi High Court had ruled that SEBI and CCI were free to decide on objections to Future Retail and Reliance Group's deal. Also, Amazon was held free to write to SEBI and CCI in view of potential of irreparable damage to business. Also, the court had held that Future Retail was able to make out a prima facie case of tortious interference by Amazon, while Future Retail's petition, as well as its August 29 board resolution for the deal with Reliance, was upheld as valid. Also, the court had ruled that the emergency arbitrator's order cannot be ignored in context of Future Retail and Amazon's deal, and had ruled that Amazon's attempt to control Future Retail without government's nod violated FEMA and FDI rules. However, these were prima facie findings, and the court had ruled that any unlawful interference by parties was to be decided based on evidence submitted further, which meant that the court would hear the case further, after which no party was restrained from moving any tribunal or moving any regulator. A few days after the court gave this order, Future Retail wrote a letter to National Stock Exchange and Bombay Stock Exchange pointing out portions of the court order where the August 29 board resolution of the company to proceed with the deal of its retail assets with Reliance Group was upheld. Future Retail had sought that regulators should base their decision on the Delhi High Court order and not the emergency arbitrator's order, whose merits haven't yet been examined by Indian courts. Amazon has already moved a division bench, and when the hearing takes place, it's likely that the issue of the applicability and legality of the emergency arbitrator's order in Indian jurisdiction will be taken up for hearing, which has been opposed earlier by Future Retail as well as the Reliance Group, who had claimed that they were not a signatory to the arbitration which had taken place in Singapore. Future Retail had earlier welcomed the court order which had made a prima facie case of tortious interference by Amazon and had held that Amazon's attempt to control Future Retail without government's approval had violated FEMA and FDI rules. Though CCI had already approved the Future Retail-Reliance Group's deal, despite opposition by Amazon, SEBI was yet to decide on the deal's validity. As Future Retail, Reliance Group and Amazon were waiting SEBI's decision, they were waiting to exercise their legal right to challenge the High Court verdict either in the Supreme Court or before the division bench. And now, since the case has already reached the division bench, all eyes of course would be on the 13th of January when the case would be taken up for hearing by the division bench, which is going to decide the fate of the Future Retail Reliance Group deal.